You do you. And with that, we're moving on to the next one. Jonathan, you've not sent me a link yet.
I have not. I was waiting for Foxy to do us an intro. So, Foxy, it's over to you.
Yeah, so with my choice, we basically just fast forward a whole year. And I went with the main event for that year, which was a triple threat. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit. And with that, like they still had their ongoing rivalry going on, like Triple H and Shawn, but you add like Benoit, who was the Royal Rumble winner, going into this and wanting to make, like, it's the first time in a long while that they actually made a triple threat.
Yeah.
Like the Rumble winner actually, yeah. Like, but like the caliber of people that are in it, it's like, goddamn, like, it's hard not to think of that as a very good match. And I mean, with the finish for it, it like the moment at the end is what like really sells it for everyone as well.
Yeah, it's an iconic. I mean, it's iconic, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I went with WrestleMania 20 for the triple threat for the main event. For the World Heavyweight title.
Strong choice. So with that, Foxy, if everybody is ready, would you like to count us in?
Yeah, I shall count you in a second.
I love who says, yeah, why not?
I'm just waiting for mine to load and buying time.
Oh, come on. I know counting is not your strong point, like.
Hey. It's not the strongest suit for any referee. So
when they brought in the 20 count, you were shitting yourself. Had to go on a boot camp and everything.
Anyway, 3, 2, 1, start.
I think this match is for the nicest wrestling belt ever, in my opinion. That's my favorite. That's my favorite title. But it was also, you know, like when I grew up with. When I think of that belt, like I think of Batista. Like that's with like GM, just because of who I grew up. Like Batista, Edge, Undertaker is what I think of there. Triple H as well, and obviously Flair. But I'm not saying because you see Flair with it all. You see the promos, you see the pictures. Like that last man standing match is shown there is a banger. That is a really good match.
It's interesting that we're watching this because we were saying about how Shawn had his personal demons and his injuries. This was reborn Shawn Michaels. So
yeah, found God. So he could get away with everything he did in the 90s.
He found the greatest excuse of all.
Yeah.
You had Shawn, who by all accounts was not causing the same kind of hassle as before, and was in the middle of his but not the middle, it was kind of the beginning of his final run.
Yeah.
Of course, Ben was on SmackDown. Yes, I remember now. That's why it was...
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he actually chose to switch shows.
That's right. Yeah.
I think he was the first one to actually switch the show.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Because before that, it was just like, oh yeah, same show. I'm going to be the main event.
Yeah.
But here, it's just like, yeah, SmackDown guy switching over. I want this. This is the better match.
Yeah,
is this before or after Shawn had his lazy eye?
Before.
His eye got gradually lazier as time went on. Like,
that was that? I can't remember. Was that I know it was an injury from something. I can't remember what it was.
You know what it was?
I thought it was just like...
People actually thought that it was from like the feud with Jericho. It wasn't.
No,
but it was an injury. He got basically, from what I heard, he got like in a match, he got like a cut somewhere in his eye, and essentially the way it healed kind of moved the eye over in a way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's why it was an artificial thing.
He got a boot to the head from Kane. And
is that what it was?
Yeah.
He booed him so hard he sent him cross-eyed.
You don't call him the big red machine for nothing.
Talk about working fucking stiff. Jesus.
He's safe as houses. He didn't even fucking mean it. Like, imagine he's like still apologizing like now.
I think like Sean had like a pre-existing cut, but like it was a house show and Kane got the boot in, caught him, just caused whatever way he was looking. He, what do I say? Like you make that face, he'll get stuck like that.
Jesus Christ.
This is also the second match with Michaels in it. What does that say about him?
Yeah. Actually, Shawn Michaels is featured quite a bit on this particular show.
It's very rarely we have like a series, a show without him. In fairness, like he's been on quite a few.
That's what happens when you're just better than Bret Hart.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, Michael.
LJ Cleary's views do not necessarily reflect the views of the Tours R Us crew.
We're gonna get Michael on now, and it's just gonna be nothing but Bret Hart propaganda.
No, I do love Bret. He's class. Just Sean. Look at this is tense now.
He had some sunny days.
Like
I always loved Sean's elbow.
Oh yeah.
I loved his elbow off the top.
Thatcher loves
always made it look so good.
Yeah.
Thatcher loves the elbow.
Oh, he does, yeah. No, he's Thatcher loves the elbow, but also doing it for like 60 yards away. Like fucking cheating at that stage.
I wish at this Mania, like obviously I get it because I wish they were coming through the the middle, the normal. Yeah, I always thought that. Always when I watch this back, like I love Jericho and Christian from this show, and the Eddie and Angle match is really good as well. So I always like whenever I watch that, I was like I wish they were walking through because one of my biggest memories of wrestling ever. Like my fondest was when Cena returned at the Rumble.
Is this when he gets stuck in the grate? Sorry.
Oh no, I don't think it's because I think that's when he gets stuck in the grate, his trousers and jacket are made. I think that's you know the match where he catches Shelton Benjamin with the super kick.
Yes,
I think it's that match.
I think you are right. Yeah, you are completely right. I just remember looking at it. It's one of my favorite ones where he's just like, oh fuck.
It's the show where Ultimo Dragon slips on his cape.
Yeah.
Piano Gordy has. He goes, bump. One of the greatest superstars ever to live, and he falls flat his fucking ass.
I think I said it on a previous show. It's like, he didn't get a fair shot.
He got fucked all. Yeah.
Ultimo.
Yeah.
He got nothing, man.
I only watched an Ultimo Dragon match last night. I watched him and Jericho from Fall Brawl '97 or something like that, like some pay-per-view.
Nice.
Very good
match. I was going to say underrated. Underrated in the Western world.
Yes.
Is fair.
Imagine that, getting a slogan over toothless aggression because you lost the teeth. Like, only in wrestling could that happen.
I wouldn't mind. I don't think
for everyone that gets over. For everyone that gets over, there's fucking a million that don't. Does anybody remember when they tried to get over creepy little bastard for Christian?
Yeah. Oh man, I am such a huge Christian fan. Like I'm much more I'm Christian over Edge for me, like any day. Obviously Edge is amazing, but I lost my mind when he came back in the Rumble this year. Like I could not believe it.
There's a movie as well between the two lads,
Yeah, it was unreal.
Part of me is sad that we never got the proper Edge and Christian reunion run.
I'm hoping the Christian wins. I'd love to see him win the AEW title eventually. Not now, but in a good few months, that would be good to see. Just because you said the creepy little bastard thing there, because I always this time, 04, I was 5 when this happened. I remember this is when I was starting to really kind of understand what I was watching, thinking it was real. I could understand these were fighting. I was proper. I thought this was 100% real at the time, and when they were doing creepy little bastard, I remember that was them white boots are very, very nice.
That is good.
I remember it was around Royal Rumble 05, and again I thought it was all real, but Christian and Cena were the first bad guys that I thought were cool. And I didn't really understand what I was thinking though. Christian was the first bad guy I really liked, and I didn't know why. I just thought he was cool, even though he very much portrayed wasn't to be cool like that. He pulled it off so well that he was such a goofball.
Yeah, I agree. And he also actually, right, and this may be controversial, had one of my favorite themes ever: the fucking Bohemian Rhapsody ripoff. Christian! It was brilliant.
it was so out of nowhere as well.
Yeah.
That's what kind of like threw people off. It's like, what the hell is this?
I think, and again, it's a bold statement, but you know, to me as a fan and as a wrestler, I think Christian's the most underrated wrestler ever. Honestly, like of all time, like, and again, it's like, oh, I just think he's unbelievable. Like when I watch him now, like I'm still blown. Like he's probably like, again, it's different when I'm watching it as a wrestler. Like he's probably like the smartest wrestler ever when I'm watching him.
You know, that's interesting because we were talking about doing an episode in the future about the most underrated wrestlers of all time. And do you know what? I can't argue. Christian, I mean, I love Christian.
Little Reigns would say so. Like just based off the CD, you know.
Like obviously we raised the points of the likes of Jerry Lynn and other people like that who are obviously gifted, but they never really got the appreciation that they deserved at the time.
Yeah, I think like for me, it's like with Christian, I think the reason I think he's so underrated is because like he did do a lot, and he was proving that he could do a lot, but didn't get as much though. But he could do it all. Like every time he got something, like he was like the best at it, in my opinion. Anyway,
I think it's a classic story of when higher ups just don't like you for whatever reason.
Yeah. That's it. Don't see what your benefit you have or whatever it is. That's the thing. Like a lot of guys on like the roster at the moment, like guys that are sort of mid card. Actually, a great example was from this Mania with Cesaro, finally getting that proper Mania win. To give him that. Like that should give him. And again, this is coming out in a couple of weeks' time, so I could be completely wrong with this, but it should springboard to like properly go for a main event run. Because by God, does that man ever deserve one? Based on
but I will say I could at least see why the like Cesaro may not have been pushed forward for maybe he's not as gifted on the mic as some others. Christian, on the other hand, did have kind of it all. Like
maybe the height was the only thing. Like I don't know. Maybe it was.
No, I guarantee it's the baldness. I guarantee it's the baldness. Because they always do that. Austin was an accident, right? Goldberg was an accident. But when you have an actual baldy like Cesaro, like, it's...
But you were talking about Christian, I was like, Christian was never fucking bald. Why the fuck are you talking about?
Give it a few months in AEW, don't worry. The stress levels will just...
I
always love those bridge ups. Can't do them, but I love seeing them.
Bridge up is so difficult.
Yeah.
Like, it just hurts.
Oh, that's nice.
Maxer's a fucker, and Maxer and Michael May are fuckers for doing those bridges. Like they just love showing off their core. And it's just like, right, lads, just all right.
That also comes down to the dojo training as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can tell, can't you?
Look at them; those white boots are
great. Those white boots are pretty sexy. Gotta lie, I do like them.
Because we weren't like, I wouldn't mind. Like we've gone from like 6 months.
Is it just me or was he a bit bigger at this time?
Yeah, I think this might be around. Do you remember he brought out like the bodybuilding book and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I think you're right.
From around he's probably coming down a little bit now, I'd say, but from like this, where am I thinking of? From around like the Steiner matches up to the belt now. Yeah. He's kind of he's really big at the Steiner matches, like he's huge.
I was thinking from like
when they just like the pose off and stuff. Yeah.
Like from 18 when he came back now, I think he was fucking huge. Like you see him in his quads and his body, he was just massive. And I think like from this point you could see him just kind of starting to slim, and then by like Mania 25 he's a fucking stick figure.
Yeah.
It's very evident,
Michael's gear is very nice as well. Like it's nearly exactly the same colours he was wearing in the other match as well.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating
it's not Mike Yoda. I was looking there.
Earl, fine. Earl's Westbrook.
Now we have Earl.
Yes.
Like it's really crazy sometimes when it comes to like ring gear. Like some people get away with it for years wearing basically the same type.
Yeah.
Like forever so slightly, but like. I actually find that it's actually nicer when you do change up but keep the same designs.
Yeah.
I put you, there's certain people who wear the same thing so often it's a shock when you see them in anything else. Like for instance, if I saw LJ Cleary coming out in a multitude of colours, it wouldn't shock me because he changes them quite often.
Yeah,
but they haven't come out in trunks. Yes,
that would floor me. You know, like, even Randy Orton at Mania Gone coming out in white was like, what the fuck is that? You know.
It's mad, like looking at this Mania, main event, the Triple Threat, and the one just gone. Being it like that, I don't know. I watched all the shows. Like, I was proper zombie the whole week watching everything. But my favorite match from the whole week would have been the main of the second night. But again, I've been following that. Like, I was very much so like it'd probably been the first good kind of feud in a while as a fan that I really was following. Like, I wanted to see, and the match was very unpredictable. Like, they don't know who was going to win or what was going to happen.
Those promos, fucking hell, that they were building into it were some of the best I've seen.
Oh, it was so.
Like with this match, it's also very clever in terms of like, it's not like an ordinary Triple Threat where one guy gets knocked out and he's just standing around basically. Yeah. No, it's actually like cleverly placed. Like, they're positioned together in the right way for the Tour of Command to come in.
Yeah. Most of it, the three of them are there. Like, so far, it's mostly been all three of them in the ring. So even when they're on the outside, it's like Michael just came to the outside.
But it does have that kind of that pace, that unpredictability to it as well, where it's like it's anybody could go with this, anybody could really take this, which is really difficult to kind of, I suppose, portray in a match, like this.
Yeah, because I remember because I remember watching this at the time. Like, I didn't give Benoit hope in hell. Like, I would have thought this was the place to win. And again, I kind of mentioned already, like, I wasn't a massive fan of Benoit because I didn't really, like, at the time, wouldn't appreciate the technical side of what he was doing. So when I saw him, I just kind of saw wrestler, and it wasn't anything else. Yeah. Whereas with like Triple H and HBK, because they're more like designed characters, they're more
the proper main eventers and
But again, as well in that Sean and Jesus,
oof.
He just took all of his shoulder into his stomach.
Just thinking with that though, like, that would have been a really cool spot for like Sean to do his up and over.
Yeah.
Like, actually, that would have been really good. Like a kind of a forced cannonball into it.
Yeah.
I think that just because I was thinking about when we were talking about how they're kind of putting together the Triple Threat. Like, I'm someone, I said earlier, like, I thought that was very, very clever. I really enjoy planning matches. Like, I really enjoy putting them together, and even especially with multiple people. Like, I like because I find it very satisfying. Like, when it gets put together and like it's good. But Triple Threats are, in my opinion, they're like hardest match to do. I'd much rather do a 4-way. I'd much rather do a tag 4-way. Like, with more people. Like, Triple Threats are so difficult, I think.
I'd imagine, and obviously you can speak far more experience than I was, but like, I'd imagine when it's coming to it is because you obviously want everybody to look good and look strong and all that, and in a fatal 4-way or something, at least you have 4 people, so two can be off doing their stuff at once. But when you have 3, you're very limited, and you obviously want to tell a good story, and you don't want anybody dominating too much because it makes it boring. And I can only imagine how complicated it gets.
And that's why I thought that Mania main event on there as well was so good. That was like a perfect, Triple Threat. And obviously the whole thing of this call is Mania main events. I thought that Triple Threat, and obviously the 2-night main event, like the 2 main events of the 2 nights were unbelievable. And I thought I guess I'm kind of putting them together because like I'm just looking at them like they were the 2 mains. I thought it was the best main event since Mania 31. I thought the Mania 31 main event with Reigns and Lesnar at the time, the one where Rollins cashed in, was unbelievable. Like, that was, I still go back and watch that, and I thought that was both the Sasha Bianca and the Triple Threat match were the best mains since then, which was class.
Oh my god, that hair whip still rings in
my
the
ears. Noise of it.
Jesus Christ.
We were watching at the time, weren't we? Then at
we were,
and we had like, for some reason, like, we all had different tape delays. Because I was watching it on the PlayStation, Dennis was watching it on or Jamie was watching the phone, and then everyone and Dennis. So we all had at different times. So you hear like slap, blam, blam, It's fucking gas. But yeah, no, that was a like. To be fair, like as main events go, like really, actually definitely again, it's quite like convenient we're talking about these now because those two were definitely like top tier.
Up there, oh really up there.
But also at the same time, they didn't actually have any matches that kind of overshadowed them. Like there weren't any. They didn't push the boat out with any of the matches in the need, so everything builds to the top of the card as well.
But this is something as well that like we've all heard at certain points, and something that is lacking in a lot of places now is people knowing I've said this before, and you've said it too, Foxy. People knowing their position on the card.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go out there and fucking go mental and do 50 high-flying dives out into the crowd in the first match, because where's your main event going to go from there? What the fuck are they going to do? They're going to have to kill themselves.
Especially if like the main event consists of people that aren't like flips aren't in their repertoire. So like it's nothing special for them to really like bust out. They have to rely on actual like other tricks to get the reactions they need. But I mean, like, yeah, like
it's a difficult one as well, I think, because like you know, it does, like, it's a definitely thing that does need to be looked at more, you know, knowing your position on the card as well. And again, like, as I, like, you know, I would, if something that I was getting a lot better at, but I've been guilty of it, like, you know, being that person.
I think everybody.
Because again, as well, like, it becomes a thing that some cards, and especially indie cards, obviously like WWE you're looking at, and it's a whole different level. With indie cards, there's some matches that, even if they're not on last, I think they can kind of be pushed, that you know they're going to be, like, when we wrestled, like, I got it when we wrestled the Lucha Bros, like, we weren't on last, but to us, we were like, but we are this match on this show, like, you know, and again, we could have been wrong,
but that was a very special attraction, like,
yeah,
I mean,
like that, you know, it wasn't on last, but to us, we were like, we kind of, that's what we think this is, and that sometimes on indie shows, it can be like that as well. And again, it's hard to kind of get it into to younger people. Like, I'm saying younger people, like, I'm still one of the younger guys, but like, you know, getting into younger people that, like, you know, like, you know, you will have other matches after this, you know, like, don't worry, like, you don't need to, like, leave it all out there on the, you know, leave it all out there, because, like, oh, I might never get this again, because, like, then you know, it'll be okay.
That's the thing, like, I was actually working ring crew for that match that you had with Lucha Brothers.
Ooh, I hate watching that now.
Like,
yeah, we had this last time out. We were watching
we actually discussed this the other night. I mean, with Daniel Bryan.
Him and Edge headbutting each other.
Yeah, I was just like, I wish they'd just bring back the pile driver and get rid of the goddamn flying head. Fucking hell.
Like, not gonna lie, for that headbutt spot, I actually popped for it, because I was just like, oh, this is nasty, but I love it.
Oh, like, yeah, it was done. It was great, but you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
But yeah, to the point there that LJ was making, like, about speciality matches, like, I was working ring crew for LJ's match with the Lucha Brothers, and like, that crowd were fucking buzzing for that match. Like, there are certain exceptions to the rule, and I do agree with LJ on that, in that there's certain matches that you can go all out and it's not going to affect anything else, because the crowd does expect that to a degree.
Yeah, it's very much so something that comes with experience. Like, I learned it a lot more, you know, I learned it a lot, you know, especially like in like 2019, I remember, you know, as the year was going on, I started to really understand it a lot more, because I was on these bigger shows and I got it, like, things like when I remember we you know, I don't agree with the mentality that you should you should always be going out there to steal the show. Like, I don't really, but, you know, I have done that. Like, I have had that mentality sometimes, when maybe I wasn't the match that should. You know, cause there's a lot of certain factors you have to take in as well. Like, you could, like, you know, I haven't been in this position now, but, you know, you maybe could feel a bit shafted that, like, you know, maybe you feel like your match should have done more, and, like, which isn't always right, but, you know, it's very much so going to be a person. Like, I remember when we had the match we did, I was on a Contenders 1, 2. Oh, that was nice. We did a match, and it was us, me, Darren, and Aiden. It was against the Woke Queens and CT, and I remember that was when we were like, oh, but, you know, like, this is one, like, we very much so can really, like, we were like, we can just really make this car flow here. Like, we can be a very nice kind of pit stop in it, but let's make it good enough that it's still remembered after, but you're not on the main where it's like, Jesus, like I can't stop thinking about that match before. And then that's when for me, like I started like, okay, I kind of get it now. Like I kind of get like how we can go about this.
Follow the show as well, because like a good show, especially in the OTT realm, like I remember a good show having a good start and slow and keeping going up and up and up. Like what I always earmarked was one of the out of place Odyssey shows, and on the same show was Moose Devlin, like Riddle Smile, and this 5-man 6-man tag. They were so like that, like one led into the other. So after the 6-man tag was going, what the fuck's left? Oh, just the matter of the main event. And it's Smile.
And it's unbelievable,
It's weird when you think of it that way. It's like a lot of TV shows are like that.
Yeah.
But also like at the same time, like sometimes the stadium shows were like,
jeez, some colour on Michael. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Does that happen? So.
I get exactly what you mean as well, and I remember on the and again, like I've done it, and I probably will do it again. Where sometimes I'll be like, most of the time, like I know I'll be like, yeah, like this is for the card, this is for this, but you know, I'm not gonna lie and say that there's gonna be times where I will be again. Like, no, I'm gonna go out and kill it. Like that. I remember on the Tivoli show that we wrestled.
Love that.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Do I love
that bust up?
Just stop it.
Do I love about that one though is that Michael's, you know, because sometimes I'm like, oh, they could just say, but Michael's mouth is also covered. That I love that, like,
oh, actually, for
all you know, he could be like, I give up, but like you don't know. I remember on the Tivoli show that we wrestled the Rascals and Mako, like we weren't on last, and again, but we were like, no, we were like, no, like we're gonna be remembered on this one, and again, it just came with that was and it did, like, and I feel like that was that match on that show, and it
was. I can say that because we've had that match on already on the series, so we
oh wow,
already, yeah. Well, you're in a fairly tough competition with other tag teams, so
okay.
you're in good competition.
Like,
but,
it's subjective because like it's knowing your place, but you can understand that there is a special attraction match. And when there's a special attraction match, you're allowed these leeways to be like, we're going all out.
Yeah.
So the likes of yourselves against the Lucha Bros, that's an attraction match. So therefore, you have every right to like go all out with it.
Yeah, and I only know that as well because I've done it wrong sometimes, where I thought I was that match and I wasn't, and it flopped, and because I tried to do too much. Like, I only know that because like I was on the other end of it, where I was like, Jesus, that did not work.
I think it's fair to say, like, it's something you had to learn.
Oh
through trial and error.
Yeah,
experience. Yeah, experience. Yeah.
I definitely do agree. I 100% agree though. It definitely should be something. And you do look at the shows you're on as well. Like, we're on, say, like for us, like Foxy, you wrecked a lot of the last year. Like the Five Factory shows, I think they're the ones you should really be looking at your place in the card, because it's still people from there's some really good people on them, and generally the last match on that is going to have the best people in it, so build it up to that. And then, but like if I was on WrestleMania tomorrow and I was third, I probably would be like, you know what, I'm just going to go out and try fucking kill it. Now, if I don't have the time, I'm not going to force it, but I would, but I 100% agree.
You sneak something in, and I get people to talk about it.
And it does work. An OTT as well. If the first OTT show was, if there was OTT on tomorrow and the opener was me and Danny Cross, like me and Danny, we're there to have a good opener, and that's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
You know you're rolling the card at this point.
Yeah.
That insecurity of trying to get yourself done.
100%.
Know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just as you said it with like Five Factory, it's like, I do genuinely like really miss the pre-show matches.
Oh yeah. The building's not getting any louder than them.
For context, for Dennis and John.
These are what we talked about these before. That I said that I think they're a fantastic idea. But these
are dark matches,
when it's the kind of the workers in the audience.
Yes. Yeah. And it's brilliant because it's so much fun. Now, obviously, it's a great way for getting like newer lads who are not long training, just to get in front of like
100%,
like
somewhat of a crowd, like a reaction. Yeah.
And see where they're at, like gauge their levels basically.
He's calling them out. He's calling them in.
But what's brilliant about it is that like those boys get
that's a great visual.
Better reactions than the main people on the card. Like Like,
we'd be losing our freaking minds. I tell you, no, honestly, me and Michael, or me and Fabio could go out on a Fight Factory and we could have, and I mean a proper 5-star match, get to standing up at, like, we could absolutely smash it, and it would not be louder than one of them dark matches, because it's just like 20 wrestlers. Like it's like, honestly, that'll be like a raw, and we're like, oh, and like
that's why you go 20 minutes. You already had to grab the pre-show. The crowd are done. You don't need to do anything. You aren't beating that.
No.
It's brilliant for that. But
like we were talking about this before, in that, like, for, like, I'm okay. I've been in front of audiences, etc. for most of my life. I'm fine with audiences, etc. That's grand. But there are people who aren't.
Oh shit, cameraman eats it.
That type of environment is fantastic for them to kind of go out and learn how they have to work differently.
Yeah, it also sets a very good, I just think, morale for the show. Like, because usually, I think, like, Foxy, I think we usually do them, like, just before we're about to, like, go to the back. It'll be like, right, like, last 20 minutes, like, let's get these done. So everyone's kind of going to the back in a good mood, like, oh, that, and then like, we can take the time to go and, tell the lads they did a good job as well, and which would mean the world to them, because they're going back out to then help out for the rest of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said. Those little morale boosters, they count for a lot.
Especially after this, I think a lot of that stuff is, and it will be, because, oh shit, I thought he was going to reverse there.
Well needed. Like, it definitely should continue.
Yeah.
And, like, to be honest, like, I think it could be utilized in all the schools in Ireland, rather than just Fight Factory. Like, I do want to say, like, it's not uniquely like a new concept, but it is when it's for Fight Factory. Fight Factory, like, are the only ones doing it.
Yeah.
But therefore, like, everywhere else should kind of, like, take influence from other schools.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I said I genuinely think it's a fantastic idea. I genuinely do. There's no downside to it.
I'm just generally buzzing for, like, the atmosphere and things going back, because I do think it's just going to be at an all-time high. Like, it's going to be like kids.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's looking forward to seeing everybody else, and just like,
And again, like, this could just be me being too positive, like, I will try kind of look, like, I do think, like, I could be wrong. I'm gonna say I'm not wrong, but I do think there will be, even if it's only a few shows before the end of the year. I think, like, they will happen, and that might not be till November, December, but I do think they will happen, where we can have, like, even a bit of a crowd, and that is really going to be amazing. Like, it's going to feel like Mania.
Even if they're like limited audience capacity, maybe streamed or something like that.
It can be done.
Anything, it can be done, and I think I agree completely with you, LJ. I think it would be. I think you'll get some morale boost out of that.
I think they will happen as well. Like, I just we had that summer last year with no vaccines. But this year with vaccines, surely should be different. Triple H is so good at that sell when he's doing it, like, no, because the hair as well, the way his hair goes up in there.
That's it. I was like, fucking hell! I really wish I had long hair.
I'm saying this to you.
Don't we all, Dennis? Don't we all?
But, like, it's so, we were actually, again, we were talking about this the other day, we were talking about the cell and everything, and how having long hair can add to it so much. Like, it's the whip and all that. Like, it can look so good.
Like, just for, like, it covers people calling them.
Oh, that is such a nice super kick.
Jesus Christ.
Comes in at fucking terminal velocity.
He is
proper
gushing blood.
Yeah.
My God.
Like, talking about, like, Fight Factory, like it's before we finished up, like, 2019. Now, like, more than hype, we're going against Club Rock Shandy on the Fight Factory show. And they're doing amazing, like, matches, which, like, to the point that I was just like, people are all over this right now. But Club Rock Shandy had only just made their debut in OTT.
Yeah.
And I said it to a few people, it's like, we're not going to see that for at least 2 years. And when it happens, it's going to be unreal.
Yeah.
Because like it's smart booking that Joe did, but like, goddamn, it's just like you see it on Fight Factory. This is what the lads can do with each other. What you can do, and like if we're just waiting for a long period of time, we'll forget about it. It'll die down a bit.
Yeah.
Until when we do it in OTT, it's just like people are gonna lose their shit.
Yeah, it's gonna get such a big reaction. Here it is. This is a pretty iconic image. Well, like, you know, not like, you know, not as, you know, look back on, understandably so.
Yes.
But it's very much so. The Triple H is so good at doing the tap as well, like the limp hand. His hand's gone limp. No, it's not. I think
I love the kind of the closeness to the rope, like so close to the rope, nearly there.
He probably could grab it, but he's so fatigued that he can't.
Which it's a smart little thing, because like they didn't fall into the trope of doing like lift the arm like 3 times.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Literally, like,
and sometimes like I do, like, I think sometimes the 3-arm thing does work really well, but there it wouldn't have worked. It would, like, Oh no!
Like for kids show you could get away with it, but for an adult show it's like. No, don't insult their intelligence.
Unless you're literally going to go for the 3 on it, and that's how you're going to end the match.
Yeah. There you have it.
It depends on the circumstances as well.
Yeah. What a match. Like, my God, and you can see how much it means to him right there.
It's weird. Like, I don't think I've actually watched this match since for years. Like, I don't like, in a weird way. Like, it's kind of like watching this match again after time. It's such a very kind of odd experience. But like, the moment coming up now with Benoit and Eddie is a very strange feeling of like it's such a weird time capsule in a way, because like, if you're to say to someone like in our time what would have happened between them, like you wouldn't believe it. Like, to say that Eddie would be dead 2 years after that is fucking
But I mean, I still think I'm a fervent believer of you can separate the legacy of what he accomplished in the ring from what happened personally. I think you can separate that out and you can still appreciate his body of work.
I think it's caveat.
And not necessarily endorse what he did.
Yeah.
It's one, like, it's, because it's difficult as well, because, you know, if someone were to say, like, you know, I would never celebrate him, obviously, and if someone else was like, I can't, I'd be like, I get it. Yeah. You know, I do.
I understand the point, but I mean, I can still, like, moments like this still make me happy for what they were at that time and not what would happen in the future.
Yeah, it's always in context. That's the thing. Like, at this time, like, you're thinking.
At this time, it was a beautiful moment, like. So yeah, there we go. That wraps up that one. We're heading into our final one, but that was WrestleMania 20. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H versus Chris Benoit. Another extremely strong choice from Sir Foxington. There. So I'll actually no, LJ, you take the lead on this one and let us know your scoring on that particular one.
I think, you know, it's a pretty famous triple threat match. It was kind of, I think it was quite heralded for a while. It's like, it was like the triple threat match. Like, it was like the one that was done really well. And just watching it there again, I was kind of watching it a bit more attentively. I actually probably appreciate it a lot more there, like, for the actual smartness of a triple threat. Again, like I said, I find triple threats are really hard to plan and put together. I've had some good ones where, like, when they were over, I was like, thank God, like, you know, you feel really good that it's been pulled off well, because again, it can be difficult. I've had bad ones. I've had some stinkers, actually, triple threats. Yeah, I love Michaels. I've already, you know, I like that super kick at the end. I thought it was unbelievable. That's probably my favorite point in the match. You know, I don't want to spend too long, but I'm gonna give that an 8. An 8, yeah, for me.
Nice. For me, it's an iconic moment at the end of it. The match itself, I think, is goddamn. It's about as good as you could get. You had three uber talented wrestlers in there. I mean, I loved the. To me, it was a good example of when color can help make the match.
Yeah.
The fact that Triple H and Shawn kind of were bleeding did add to it a bit visually. For me, I thought it was a great visual. That super kick, yeah, I mean, that was fantastic. But the things like when he was at the end there in the crossface, Triple H, and he was just so close to the ropes, he could nearly get it. And they milked it until the very last moment, and then he flicked him around into the middle. The crowd were going fucking crazy. They held the crowd in their hand the whole time. Really entertaining. I gotta say 8.5 again. I know I've given that before, but it was, they're high quality. The only reason I'm deducting a little bit was I just at times it almost felt like there was a little too much going on. But that's again personal opinion. That everybody's completely different. Just to me, there was a couple of moments where I just would have maybe tidied it up a touch, and that's it. So, Jonathan.
Yeah, like as I was kind of alluding to there, I kind of forgot how good this match really was. Because I wouldn't have watched this match since everything that happened with Benoit, and in a weird way, like again, this works so well as a main event because as I was kind of mentioning earlier, like nothing really overshadowed this match beforehand. Like as LJ said earlier on, like Jericho and Christian was a cracking match in of itself, but it was kind of like in Act 1 of the show, and like Undertaker Kane was a bit of a formality. So it wouldn't, and that wasn't like a barnstorm of a match either. Eddie, like Angle was a very cute finish and a lovely match between the two of them. But again, everything was culminating to what was the best storyline going in, which was Chris Benoit essentially gate crashing the Triple H and HBK match, which is brilliant. And that kind of came true in the triple threat as well. Like that for me is one of the better triple threats you can get for a title because there isn't really a slow down point in that match. Like it's always going, which really, again, this is coming from a non-worker's point of view. That's probably the best way of doing the triple threats is actually just keep the pace going, keep people like guessing whatever it is, and that's obviously very hard to do. But again, the little things like the finish was very good, and the fact that like there was always a threat in the match where it was like whoever was fair was always interrupting and doing those things to keep the match going. Match quality is brilliant, and as a main event, it's brilliant. And the send off with Eddie and Benoit, brilliant. I'm giving it 9.5.
Wow.
Nice.
Because again, my criteria is like a main event that delivers, and that ticks all the boxes. Yep. It's a great match, great character moments. The correct ending in that context was Benoit winning, the brand new world champion and a brand new person to have feuds with because they needed it at the time. Because you had like a year, like Triple H, like reigns continuously. Like Shawn Michaels was always there and all these other people. And you had someone new, which meant that other new people coming in because we were only a few months away from Randy Orton being world champion. And that's another cycle. That's new people coming in. So yeah, it ticks all the boxes there completely for me. So that's why I'm giving it 9.5 because I think that's a
fair
deal.
Fair. And with that, we're heading into our final Mania one. It's been a bit of a long one, and I do apologize, LJ, for keeping you so long.
No problem.
This is worth the wait. This is LJ Cleary's choice. And this is WrestleMania, even, if I can speak. WrestleMania 28. And it's The Rock versus John Cena. Part 1, once in a lifetime. So, LJ, do you want to tell us a little bit about this, about your choice?
Yeah, so like I when I picked this, I was like, this might not get the this is when I was like, this isn't, I don't think, going to get as much love as like the way I love it, because there's a bit of a this match is like, to me, is it is a huge part in why when I knew I wanted to actually be a wrestler. Like this whole event in particular, like, is a huge time. And so to give some context, so I lived in Spain for 4 years, or I lived in Spain from 2008 to 2012, and I remember so clearly this was about a week before we moved back, and I remember it was like the last kind of thing that I was like you know, like that thing that I was that event that I was doing, like I had a friend over and we watched this live. But now at this point from 20, like so I'm 13. Or yeah, I've just turned 13 at this point, and like from about 07 up to now, like I morphed from, you know, like the wrestling fan to like obsession. Like it was proper like my life as it is now. Like it hasn't changed really since this point as well. Like I grew up, I'm very much so like this John Cena target audience, you know, like I was that when I was 8. That's when he came back in the Rumble and everything, you know, like when he like
Jesus Christ, I feel fucking old.
It was very hard for me to pick between this and Cena Michaels at 23, because again, like I was like WrestleMania 23 was like it was that pay-per-view and I was like, damn, like this is like, I absolutely love this. I was already watching everything, but when 23 came around, and again, like I wanted Cena to beat Michaels so bad, and I was so glad he did, you know. Like I have never even in the slightest been like a Cena hater or anything. I get it, you know, like people, you know, that would have grown up with like Austin the Rock and I liking it, but for me, like Cena was legit my hero, and he still would be one of my, as cheesy as it sounds, like he still would be one of my heroes. Like he's a huge inspiration. He's who I grew up with. He was my Austin, my Hogan. And now by the time this point came around, it's like Cena's my guy and everything. But I'd also, this is when I would have went and watched a lot of the Attitude Era, so I was buzzing about The Rock coming back. I was like, oh, you know, class, he's hosting Mania, like this is amazing. Like huge Rock. This is the Fast and Furious 5 had come out before and everything. Like The Rock was really like, you know, that really did coincide with me being like, oh yeah, The Rock is so cool though. Like, and then when you know he came back at 27 for the hosting thing, and like that Mania wasn't great or anything, but you know it was still quite cool to see him. Like when him and Cena would do the promos, I was like, oh, like again there was points when I would watch these promos compared to when I'd watched them as a kid. Now obviously at this point I've been very much smartened up. I knew what was up and everything, because obviously I'm a good bit older. But I remember the promos leading up to this, I was like, wow, like this feels really different though. Like there's something, like it feels a little bit more real. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe like they really feel like that, I don't know. And I can tell you from the day they made that match at the Raw after May 27 up to this, like I thought about it every day. Like I could not wait. I was like, it's my guy, like my hero against someone who I also really, really love. But you know, I was like proper Team Cena going into it. I was like, Cena is my guy. He's the man. Yeah, this show though, as I said, like this was right before I moved back to Dublin, and I knew, like I'd always said since I was a kid, like I'm gonna be a wrestler, But I remember this show, when this show finished, I was like, I'm going to be a wrestler, like I will be. It was this and the Jericho and the Punk match as well that really did it. And again, when this, like my God, like I don't mean to be clamoring on, I know we're in her, I've been on a while, but like really, like I can't really stress enough how like big of a deal to me at the time. Like obviously it was a huge deal, Rock versus Cena, but like it was as I say, the two most excited, like the times I've been the most excited in my life were, number 2 was when this Force Awakens was coming out, right? Because I was getting to like experience Star Wars. Like I was getting to like experience like a new Star Wars as a teen. Yeah. And the most excited I've ever been in my life was for this match. Like 100%, like honest to God, and like ever, like I could, like the weeks leading up to it and everything, like I was so damn excited. And I really think it's genuinely, and maybe not as high octane as especially a match you've seen now, like I really think the match does deliver, especially when you watch it back now. It's, you know, it's very much so like it's an example of when they say, you know, you don't need to do much because you're so over. This is it. Like they don't do anything that extreme. They're barely leaving their feet and everything besides their finishers. But the crowd, and obviously it's in Florida, or it's in Miami. Yeah, it's in Miami, Florida, where The Rock is from, and then but you can still hear like there's still a bit of the Cena buzz as well, even though you saw this is proper kind of peak, like let's go Cena sucks, but Cena really sucks. And yeah, so like that's why like it really, like it holds a proper like special place to me.
Great. I think do you know, for me, I know I'm really looking forward to this because I actually this is one of the ones I have not seen since I saw it live. So I'm really excited to see, because now I can look at it a little bit more critically. And kind of actually appreciate it for what it is. So, LJ, if you'd like to do the honors and count us down when you are ready.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. And you're going to see it here as well, actually. See, with Mike Chioda again, third time, right? See when he rings the bell here, yeah? Right till it comes.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if you could hear it, but see when that happened, I remember, like, literally can remember, like, yesterday, sitting on my couch when the bell rang, and you could hear the crowd, like, they roar because the bell is rung, because it's like, this is finally happening. I remember just being so excited. Oh my God.
There's a year in the build.
Yeah, that's the epitome of having the crowd in the palm of your hand from the get-go.
And they just go, and I love the way they just go for it as well, like, because they've done enough of the, like, them walking around the ring and, like, are they going to touch it, are they going to not? Like, they lock up straight away.
This is great.
Oh, lovely bump.
Rock v. Hogan.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they didn't have to do anything for a good 5 minutes before they actually touched.
Yeah.
Because the crowd were so into it.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, this was like my Rock v Hogan that I got to live, because I can tell you about Rock v Hogan that I remember getting on. It's mad because I still have to, like, I'm a mad, like, OCD with, like, wrestling DVDs and stuff. I still have so many, and I get my use out of them. Like, I'm not giving them up, even though I, like, love the network and live on it. I have my birthday is the 12th of March, and I have a Hogan DVD that the receipt is the 12th of March 2007 on it. And I remember putting that in. I remember the first time I watched Rock and Hogan, and again, that was my, nice. Look, Cena is an underrated seller as well. I know he can be super seen and everything, but I genuinely think he's
I actually was going to say, Cena, like, when I look, you actually, when you were saying about in your intro there about kind of fans of Grub and the Attitude Era and all that, like, you hit me on nail on the head when I was kind of watching it and stuff. It's like, oh, Cena, yeah, he's shit, he's all bad.
Yeah, and I get it.
But now I look back, now I've actually, I've trained myself and stuff and all that. And I can appreciate John Cena now way more. He is a different kind of underrated. He's not underrated in that he's obviously one of the biggest stars of all time, but he's underrated in that he never gets respect for his actual ability. And he's very solid in the ring, very solid. When you
kind of distance yourself from, like, well, like, what does Cena physically do, to, like, how he's, like, a master of the craft, and the craft is, I don't mean to be like, it always gets said and it sounds so snarky, like, the craft is like, it's not the moves, it's about, what you do in between them and blah blah blah. Like, that's what Cena is, like, unreal. But about the Rock Hogan match, I remember watching that again. I was about 8, and this is when I still thought it was all real. Look at The Rock busting that out after so many. Look at Cena's face there. Like, that's look at that cell. The Rock Hogan match was again. So I when you're younger, when I thought it was, now maybe, like, I could be in the minority. Like, I thought it was, for my good first few years of watching wrestling, from when I was about 3 till about 9. I thought it was real, and I really did. Like, I thought it was absolutely real. When people told me it was fake, I'd be like, "Shut up, you're wrong." How wrong I was looking back, I guess.
I was the exact same, man.
But
like,
when
it was even worse for me, because I was like, "No, the Ultimate Warrior is definitely fucking."
When I have people OTT think that it was real.
Really?
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Like, a complete new and then they saw taking coke and going, that's definitely real. It's definitely not talcum powder. It's fine.
One of my actual just because it came into my head there recently, and it does involve more than hype. Was I remember I took my wife, my now wife, to her first wrestling show, and it was in Waterford. For Phoenix, and
oh Jesus!
And More Than Hype were on it, and
rampant on that we were.
Yeah, they were healing it up to the fucking max. But I remember, Darren. I think he spat or he slapped chewing gum or something, and it smacked my wife in the face.
Oh my god!
But she didn't care, because she was clued in, like,
Yeah.
But Darren went from playing the heel to going, "Oh shit!"
Because that's like there are things that you get told, like, because it's class that, you and your wife are going to be in, but someone could be like, oh, no, like, you spat that on me, and you have to, like, oh no, I'm sorry.
You're a great character, and actually, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Or do you play? I was like,
you have to choose. Yeah, because I remember at a Phoenix gym show, me and Liam Royal were tagging, and I remember again, like, what, 30, 40 people at gym show, and the one person had one sign, and the sign was like, LJ Cleary is like the worst wrestler in the world. Like, I was a heel, and I remember it was a little girl, and in my head I was like, should I rip this up? I didn't, because I was like, no, you know what, if it was bigger, if it was a bigger show with a bigger audience, I definitely would have.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're bullying your child.
Yeah, because the noise I would have wanted, I wouldn't have got from the few people there. It would have been more like, oh, you know. So I was like, no, I was close though. Like I was really contemplating it. But that's the thing. Like I really thought it was all real. I thought the bad guys when they turn heel face, I was like, oh well, I like them now. And again with that Rock Hogan match, it was like. Again, I didn't know what a good and a bad match was. I just watched them. I just wanted my favourites to win. That was it. Like I didn't know what a good match was, but I remember watching that, and I was like, I remember finishing it, and I was like, there was something different about that. I didn't know what it was until years later, and I got the same with Angles and Michael as well. I finished it, and I was like, what? That felt so different. And then it was when. Around Mania 25 is when I would have been starting to cop on. You know, I was like 9. Like I should have probably copped on years before that. And then it was the Taker Michaels. I was like, okay, I get that. Like I get it. Like they put on an incredible display. That wasn't like good versus evil that I thought it was. You know.
There's one thing so far in this match that I'm copping, and the other guys I know will have heard me say this before. I'm a huge fan. Not so much. You don't have to be the best wrestler in the world, in my eyes, if you can tell a good story. If you can grab me in and tell your story and all that. And it's like LJ, you were saying, like they don't do much, and it's true, but they're telling their story pretty damn well.
Oh, I think it's perfect. Like obviously they're not like obviously Cena does not. I don't know if he can. I'm gonna assume that he doesn't wrestle like Daniel Bryan. Like he's not gonna wrestle like Daniel Bryan. I don't want to see him wrestling like Daniel Bryan. It doesn't work that way, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I really think Cena, like this is one of the, like, you know, only a little bit now, but you know, this is probably, if you had to pinpoint any match, you know, where Cena showed a little bit of a heel tendency, it's in this, because, and they built it up so well that, like, I really believed, even when this is when I was confident that they didn't like each other, like I believed that Cena did not like The Rock, and that's just how much they sucked me into it.
I do remember thinking, sorry, John.
This had a cracking build. Like this, like from the run into this show, these two lads knocked it at the fucking park, because The Rock, like, would do his kind of usual stick, and in a way, like The Rock kind of phoned in a few of the promos at the time.
Oh,
so
actually,
just, like,
was this
a new slogan? And then we seen like actually properly dissing him on a rap and like bringing out the comments. So that was fun.
I was going to say, is this the one where we saw the return of the Doctor of Thugonomics for?
That was it.
Yeah.
Because the sequel was very different.
Also, was this the match where Rock got seriously injured, or was that?
I think that's the second one.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I think so. I'm pretty sure, because I know The Rock is on the Mania the Raw after this. Or is he?
Maybe he opens it there, isn't he? Like, I thought he put his ab.
There's one where he rips his ab, basically. He fucks his ab.
Oh, maybe it is. I thought it was the second, because you know what? Again, like, and the second one isn't as good as this, but I still do think it is. Like, if you enjoy this type of match, the second one is like. Do you know when they do? Because they hadn't done a match in so long where they just done, you know, added to their finishers, and they did that in the second match, and they pulled it off so well that they do so many that you don't know when it's gonna end. Oh, here we go. Bear hug. When was the last time you seen a bear hug in a match? At a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
This feels like Mania as well. That's why I think, like, this feels like such a big deal. And it is. It was a huge
WrestleMania match, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just megastar versus megastar. And generational stars. Like, again, it's very obvious not to Rock Hogan, but it makes sense to have a match like this.
I can't believe this is nearly 10 years ago. Like, I cannot believe that. When I was talking about that there and how I was like, oh yeah, I remember, like, God damn, I can't believe that. I've nearly been wrestling 10 years. Like, I started in 2013. So, like, I'm...
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I'll be in 2023. I've been wrestling 10 years.
That's one of, I've said it before, one of my biggest regrets in life was starting training so late in my life. I didn't start training till I was 32.
Yeah.
Or 33, rather. So, like, it's one of those things...
Well, you'll get that match though, and then they'll be like, you'll get that one that you want.
I'm going to start pitching it to all the promoters, saying LJ said I could have a match.
A video proof for it as well.
Pal, what are you doing to me?
Videos don't fucking count, Dennis. Fucking leave me alone. Fuck's sake.
Actually, that same show in Waterford is where Bruiser inadvertently gave me and Kev the idea for the tag team.
Really?
Because he came out and he got confused. He thought I was actually Kev's brother. And then we started going, oh, we'll do the brother gimmick.
Yes, because all balding people look exactly the same. It's true. It's proven by scientific fact.
Even there, before that DDT, when the way Cena sells those punches, like he does the way his arms go. For someone who's so big and clunky, like when he does sell like that, I think it really stands out.
Like Cena's always a bit unfortunate because he's always like he hasn't been typecast to be like the whitey babyface for so long. Yeah. And sometimes when he is kind of out of out of his comfort zone as a character, as a character, you actually see a lot more from him, the wrestler. Like, One Night Stand comes to mind a lot when they're in the bingo hall as and like when he's in there, like he is still like WWE mode John Cena, but he's not in there yet. So he immediately switches. He starts reading the audience and stops and forgets about the whole like really kind of clean and like.
Look at CM Punk, Money in the Bank in Chicago. He changed completely. He didn't do his fancy entrance. Didn't do anything. One great example.
Look at this shot here. Like, sorry, I remember this. Look at that shot, the way he pans out, and then he puts him in the STF.
Oh, that's great.
The crowd are going mental here.
One I watched back at recently, Jonathan. And I mean, actually, you probably have too, but it really let me know just before he was kind of turned into the John Cena that we came to know.
Yeah,
was him versus JBL for the US. Was it JBL for the US title?
Was it the I Quit match?
No, I'm sorry, it was Big Show. Sorry, it was Cena and Big Show for the US title. Cena was so over.
Oh,
there was none of this. Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks. It was just he was over.
So the same when he beat JBL at Mania 21 as well. Like he was hot.
Yeah, like I mean, there was no. A lot of people remember kind of when it became this, as I said, let's go, Cena. Cena sucks thing. But no. It all started because he was white hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, he got there by merit. Like he was a top star for a reason. It's often the case. Like it was the repetition of him as a character and the way he was being booked. That's not his fault. That's the fact that like they're doing it weekly. He's on weekly.
Double down.
Weekly, and the same effect with Reigns. But now that Reigns has like, look how like people have changed now that the Reigns is has a more interesting character. Like it is a case of once you give people who have that actual talent an opportunity to use a character like that, then everyone loves it automatically. If Cena ever had that opportunity, it'd be the same thing.
It's a thing in I think I could safely say in most wrestling that the audience don't like to feel like they're being told what to do. If they feel like they've chosen it, it'll be much more natural.
Yeah. We've had that with OTT. Like, we've had that with OTT. Sometimes like you'll have someone in front of you, it doesn't click, and then when there is someone in front of you, and it almost feels like you kind of like you brought them along. Actually, like Morton Hyde's a great example because like it's like when Nathan and like Captain Darren and LJ being, that all felt organic and it all felt like we were all part of the same journey.
Yeah.
Because again, like and you know yourself, like a lot of the Irish fans kind of feel ownership over the wrestlers. Like, oh yeah, no, we helped them along. We were there for Raven Creed's like title win. We were there for LJ winning the title and all this sort of stuff. And like it's this kind of same thing. Like if you want to be kind of like almost collaborative with the wrestler, sense.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yes, brilliant. Crowd off the feet.
Yeah, that is spot on what you're saying, Jonathan, there, that is spot on. But Joe, I think was so good about that, and it's something that, like, again, it's just with wrestling, is that, you know, like, if you would have talked about this match before, like, if the four of us, before this match happened, we're talking, we'd be like, oh, you know, there's probably going to be, like, multiple finishers. But the way Cena hops on like, it's the way they built up that, like, they were getting, like, they already had, like, the noise of the yeah boo, and then The Rock does the bump, the you can't see me, and everyone's like yeah, and then they just like that kind of like the pop, the reaction wave just continues. That when Cena hits it and jumps on the pin so quick, people were there like, oh, like he probably is gonna win, and then like he kicks out and they're like, oh, that's how you get that proper reaction.
And it's because it's that sudden snap. It's that fuck, where'd that come from? Shit.
Yeah. It's also how he pins him as well. Like he's pinned, like, you know,
he kind of bounces out of the AA into a pin.
Yes.
Oh, again, like I don't know if this match would get as much love as but like I really love it. Like it's a fun one that I watch once a year. Like I watch it around Mania and be like, damn, like I just remember I can't believe it's gonna be 10 years soon. What the fuck?
It's at this point, LJ Cleary feels old.
Yeah, I can tell you, LJ, it doesn't get better. As you get older, it'll get fucking worse.
You know, I turned 22 there last month, but you know what, like, and I'm just about to finish college, like my fourth year in college. But I think thanks very much. Like, obviously, as awful as the last year's been, like, I miss everything. I miss wrestling. Like, I think about training every day, and I've thought about that fucking pack match every single day. But it's actually, like, I could have worked out alright timeline wise for me with like finishing college, that things are starting to maybe open back up, because
take the positives, man.
I had a feeling that, like, you know, like, who knows, I'm not one to dwell on, like, who knows where we could have ended up, you know, we could have been offered contracts or any of that stuff. But if I had of, while I was still in college, because like my parents are really supportive, like they were like, we'll help you with this wrestling thing, you know, like financially you just got to do well in college, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah,
but you know, who knows,
have a backup plan, like, yeah,
like, who knows though, if the contract or something had popped up and I would have, like, I stupidly would have been like, oh yeah, like, I got to take it, but then, like, it would have been like, it would have turned into a big thing, like, but I have to finish college, or like, it could have worked out perfectly for me, which that's what I'm telling myself, that's why it happened, and that's why I didn't get the matchup.
I actually think you're right, is that, like, you at least, like, you had the time to kind of concentrate on your college, get that finished up. Now you can enter into it new, fresh. There's nothing holding you back. Where if those opportunities do come along, you don't have to second guess yourself. You can now, you know, with a clear conscience say, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this. You know, I think, oh man, I think for the likes of More Than Hype, oh man, with the new scene that I think we will be seeing, I think the fucking world's your oyster.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the same. You know, what a visual that was there. Like, seeing when is he, like, he does that leg drop and all, but when does he stand like that? And I don't know if he's seen, but, like, you know, Aoife uses as a finisher like a leg drop like that, and like she didn't get it off Cena, but like I remember when I was like, Cena, and she was like, oh, and I was like, that ain't like Cena's move.
Apparently Cena is also a big fan of Death Note. Who knew?
But you know, like, Cena does not do it as gracefully. But you know, like, she's a huge anime fan. She loves Attack on Titan, and Cena's been posting a lot of Attack on Titan stuff on his Instagram, and she's been losing her mind.
Is he looking at me?
Yeah, just like watching NXT UK going, hang on, something familiar, and he just I
think my wife and Aoife would get on very well. She also loves Attack on Titan.
Oh, really?
Like, watching this match though, like, I'm really appreciating like they're putting the shift in, but at the same time there is not a lot being done.
Yeah, they're just doing that stuff well.
Yeah, it's everything.
I do hate Rock's sharpshooter. I do fucking hate sharpshooter.
More like.
This to me is a match that I think this is an important thing. I think it's especially for younger people wrestling to hear that, you know, you get told less is more. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you should be told do more with less, and that's what I think these are doing. Like, it doesn't mean like do less. It's like, take what you have and like, how do you exaggerate that? And that's what they're doing. Like,
that's the thing. You don't need to be a technical genius. You don't need to be a Daniel Bryan or anything like that. You can have
your strengths as well. Like, if you're over, and you take advantage of it.
But you can be solid in other things. You can be a solid brawler, a solid powerhouse. You don't have to be a technical wizard, and you can still get the same message across.
Look at Cena standing there like a hero.
Like, Zach Gibson literally have to walk into a building and gets booed out of it. Like, that is such a hard thing to coach. Like, you just have to be able to have that. Care about you. Like, that's.
I can tell.
Like, you didn't have to do it. You could have walked out there and then. You didn't have to wrestle at all because you already picked that box. You know what I mean?
You said Gibson there. Like, when we wrestled like the Rapture on a stadium show, and I remember. Like, I remember standing behind the curtain and being like, oh my god, I was like, this is like proper, like, you know, you get told about like, heat in wrestling, and like, I get it from watching wrestling on TV, but I was like, oh my god, I was like, the noise of this, I was like, this is, and I was like, and you know what, because I remember leading up to that, we could give like a bit of context, like British Strong Style were on that show, and I remember at the time we were like, well, we should probably be wrestling them. But we didn't get it until after, and I remember Joe was like, "Did you hear like the reaction for you?" when you came out because of Gibson. I was like, yeah, I get it now. Like I understood it. Yeah. The second the music came, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, you know, because like we were, you know, obviously it could have been anyone, but obviously people we had been getting fairly good reactions anyway. But like that made us feel like, you know, The Rock was coming out.
You were because
like yeah.
Like I said, like Gibson inativity, I think is one of those noises you can't really describe. It's just like it is like, kind of like what happens if you're in a room full of banshees? Like that's the closest you'll ever get to that. But like, and that's the thing, like that is like wrestlers would be so desperate for that sort of reception, and he doesn't even have to do anything for that. He literally has his music hits, and everyone already starts kicking off. And
He doesn't even have to say anything.
We kind of like Scousers. Because Zach Gibson apparently is a different.
Yeah, I remember before. Oh, look at that! You never see Cena bust that out.
Beautiful.
Oh, that is.
And he actually did. He got a lovely height on it too.
Yeah. Look at his face as well. You know this.
Now, to be fair, I denigrated Rock Sharpshooter. I will also denigrate Cena's STF.
I can't defend the Cena STF. Do you know what? I think it was because he used to do that a lot. You know, he used to do the choke until. You know that TLC match with Edge where like he legit chokes him out, like he legit, I'm pretty sure that's when he stopped because his arm was obviously huge. I remember going to buy Cena. I remember going to buy the purple Cena wristband set, and I was like, "Is this not meant to go on my arm?" And they were like, "No, like that's a headband. Like he just wears it on his arm." I was like, "Oh my god!" It was in the wrestling shop. I remember going and buying them.
His biceps are fucking ridiculous, man.
With Gibson there, I remember.
His arm is. He's wearing a headband on his arm.
Yeah. Before one of the, it was before one of the it was before the stadium show where I had the ladder match on, and like I do obviously love that match and stuff with Scotty. But before, there was a good few weeks before where like there was no like I didn't really know what was gonna happen in the slightest. Like I had no idea. And I remember going to Joe, and I was like, can I pitch a match? He was like, yeah, and I said, could we please, like I was like, please, could you do me versus Gibson in the opener of the stadium? Wow. And he was like, wow, like that could be good. And I was like, even do like, don't announce me for it. Like it'll be a bit, people probably think it's a bit strange that like I'm not announced for it. So that time we were on all the shows. Have Gibson like interrupt Angle or something, and then have me come out and like we just do a real like. You know, because I wanted the technical match with him, because I love him as a wrestler, like, and I wanted to have the real like world of sport style match with him.
He would have loved that.
Yeah, obviously, like it worked out that he didn't book that because then he had to wrestle Darren and Nathan later on. Like it worked perfectly. And then again, as I said, the ladder match with Scotty, like I really loved that one. But that was one like that I was pushing. I remember like I remember one time going to him and being like, oh, I have it, and he went, yeah, like I know, yeah, you and Gibbs, I know, but like there was one that I wish could have happened. I'm really glad I got it in that in this, you know, the 6 month though. Look at this. Here's the three hands. You know this done right. Look at the Rockies.
It's the actor coming out of them now. Watch.
Yeah.
This is what
the hand like the nut. Yeah.
But again, I think this is to Foxy's point.
Look at that guy kneeling over the front. Like it gets a proper reaction. Yeah.
This is to Foxy's point. There's times when it's okay.
Yeah.
And with characters like them, the kind of larger than life megastar characters.
Yeah.
I think they had control of the crowd so much that a spot like that works just fine and works well.
Proper roar when he got to the roast as well. Oh, look at that kid. That's when you see them reactions, you're like, damn, like that's, you know, it's what it's all about.
It's like it is that kind of thing where like you are when you're at WrestleMania, those are the kind of things you want to see. Remember. You know.
I really want to. I've never been. I don't know if any of you. I've never been to a Mania. And like obviously, you know, in future years, I want to work for the WWE in whatever capacity that may be in years to come. But I want to go as a fan. Like before, I really want to go as a fan.
I agree. It was something I wanted. I have relations living in San Jose, and I remember there was I can't remember what year it was, but it wasn't that far away at all. And I had fucking plans. 31
was in San Jose.
31. That's the so I had plans, and for a variety of reasons that I won't get into, it just fell through. But I remember just thinking, oh no, like I was so fucking heartbroken. I was like, I just. It's just what I see where you're coming from completely. It's just one of those. It's almost like one of those before I die kind of things. I need to fucking do this.
Like obviously, like you know, in my head, like I will tell myself like I will be on Mania one day. like you know, but I want the fan experience as well first.
Yeah. Look, you want to go there and kind of appreciate it, looking from the outside rather than from the inside first. Yeah.
Look, it's like I really think Cena's underrated. Saddle, like with his face and stuff here. Like I know when he pops up as Super Cena, very questionable. But you know, hey, whatever. It's a show. Yeah. Oh, is he gonna?
But you know what? Like that's Cena gets identified for that, but I mean, I can't really name you a wrestler that didn't have a set of go-to moves.
Yeah.
Do you know, like
everyone has the 5 moves to do.
Like, I
think it was
just the formula that worked, unfortunately, especially if you have to do it like what WWE guys or company guys do. They have to do it day in, day out. So you're gonna like try and minimize the bigger bumps, and try to be able to be more consistent. As much as we bitch and moan about it, it's for their longevity.
That's the crowd are literally hanging on everything here.
Yeah.
Like they are completely engrossed in the match. Which at the end of the day is all you want. Like you're there to entertain. You know?
Yeah. I hope they do again as a fan. I would The Rock doesn't even need to come back, but if they could do Reigns and The Rock, I would not complain.
That would be
Reigns
that
now.
almost seems like a logical conclusion, doesn't it? For a head of the table kind of thing.
Yeah. Again,
it could work either way.
Yeah.
With that. Logically it makes sense for Reigns to win it, but you could also see the valid point of having The Rock come in and actually end.
It's one that I would love if it wasn't for a title. Like if Reigns lost the title, maybe because of The Rock distracting him or something.
More of a screw job kind of thing.
Yeah, because then it really adds like it all. And then when it's not for a title, it's a bit less. You don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
God damn, I remember watching this so clearly in Spain, in my apartment. You can really see them going mental here. Even if you can't hear it, you can just see the hands in the crowd. Slingshot, when you see them that done often as well.
Not very often.
I've told people to bring that back.
Yeah, imagine seeing him with a roll up there. Imagine he won with that or the small package.
We've actually told that we actually have insisted that Dennis is the one that gets slingshotted. That's what we've insisted on.
No, you constantly insist on me just getting fucking shit canned everywhere. You just want to see me get the shit kicked out of me.
You have got the aerodynamics pinned down.
It's like, Kev, you should use them like a javelin. Throw them over the top. Oh yeah, I can do that. Fucking yeah. Do I not get a say in this?
No.
Kev's a big, strong boy. If I don't want to go, he'll just fucking make me. Anyway,
You don't have a say in the matter. It's perfect.
Man, when you see the stadiums like that, obviously, I didn't Mania was amazing. I thought this week, especially the opening of it, I was like, wow, I proper got goosebumps. When you first hear the crowd and you see Vince on the stage and all. Just look at that stadium there, damn, it's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's amazing how they evolved, and we've kind of almost seen it in what we've been watching today.
Yeah,
to kind of what we saw recently with the huge, beautiful pirate ship and everything up there. WrestleMania is an entity unto itself now.
Yeah. The fact that it's now become it's a week.
Yeah,
it's not a show. It's a week. It's Mania week. Yeah, you are going to be engulfed in wrestling for a week now, and that's it.
There's fans who they won't watch wrestling all year. They watch WrestleMania.
Yeah, they watch Mania. Yeah.
Same way with the Rumble.
And Rumble, yeah. Rumble and Mania, I think are the two. Yeah.
That's
beautiful roll through. Get the muscle up. Yes.
The face as well.
Cena's strength is unreal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's proven it throughout the years.
You knew when Cena would sell a kick out that it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Even him
and look how fucking wound up the crowd are now. They can't even fucking believe it.
But look how wound up Cena is. It rarely is like this. But again, this he really wants to win this match to prove a point.
Yeah.
And it's to the extent where he's starting to get annoyed with referee. Top man John Cena is getting annoyed.
I remember thinking at the time, oh my god, is Cena going to turn heel?
Yeah, this was the only time where it was like maybe.
Oh, this is great.
This is probably the most heel thing he done. Like what he's doing right now since 04. The face as well.
Oh, look at the face on him.
He'd be such a good heel as well.
Oh yeah, whoop!
Fantastic.
It's one of those like a what if.
Beautiful.
He would have been amazing heel.
Yeah. He'd always be looked back on like that. I tell you though, honestly, again, knowing it's all real, I was fuming with that ending. Like I was not happy. Again, I did love The Rock, but you know, like
Cena was your boy.
Cena was my boy, and I believed the promos. I believed that I was like, yeah, like he did go. Like again, like this is when I know
you
it's all.
Dickhead, fuck you, Rocky.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Imagine a young LJ throwing his tato at the fucking street, going, fuck you, dickhead.
I remember I was like, well, I just, again, this was when, when you become, more about like backstage stuff. I was just like, I can't believe they did that to him. Like, I was like, I cannot believe they, but I think I'm the only person on the planet that I need to see that trilogy finished. Like, I want another Cena Rock match. I need to see who wins it because they're one apiece.
I wouldn't object to it. I will say, like, you're always expecting that rubber match, and there never was.
Yeah.
Which is a little strange. I know the second one, to be fair, he got hurt.
Yeah.
So maybe they had planned to do something again.
I think they were meant to do another one on a not Mania though, and then stuff happens. But anyway, that's my match anyway.
So great. For this one, I'll start this one off. Rock versus Cena. I mean, it's one of those matches that it's iconic in different ways. This was touched on when we were talking about. You have two legitimate megastars crossover into mainstream. Like, they're not just wrestling megastars; they're legit stars in the world.
Yeah.
Them facing off is a big deal. I remember the build up vividly. And it was a huge build up, and I actually really enjoyed it. We were a year waiting for that match. A year with virtually, I'm sure somebody will correct me, but virtually no touching before that.
Yes.
Maybe I think the only thing was they did a tag against Miz and R-Truth, and Rock gave him a rock bottom after, and that was it.
Oh yeah,
but still, for a year, that's crazy to have them not touched, to kind of hold off on it. It's kind of reminiscent to me a little bit with that aspect of it to Sting and Hogan in WCW. Where they built it for the year, no touching, nothing. They just built it. Now, obviously, they had much different outcome there, where the match was the shits. But, however, this match in particular, I thought it delivered. To go off Jonathan's point that he said later on, does it live up to the hype? Did it deliver? I think it did. Yeah. You had two lads who knew exactly what they were doing. They went out there. They went solid. There was nothing botchy. There was nothing messy about it. They went out there. They did their job. They had the crowd going from start to finish, and they legitimately had the crowd shocked at points, like with this, as LJ pointed out, the sudden AA from the punch with the hand spit, the sudden AA out of that. The crowd really thought that was it. Fuck, he's going to win, and it kept him glued. For doing what it did, I was never a huge fan of either of them, right? Back in the day when Rock was there, I was an Austin guy, right? Cena coming up, as LJ touched on either, I was the era that thought he was uncool. Now looking back, I appreciate them for what they did, and I can appreciate their ability in the ring. I have to go high because I found it really entertaining. I haven't watched it in so long, and I found it so entertaining. I was legitimately into the match. No lie. I got to go 9. I have to go 9.
Oh,
it was
really.
I haven't seen it in, like, literally, I have not seen that since I watched it live, and it entertained me. If it entertains me, surely that's the goal of a wrestling match.
Wow.
So that's my score. Jonathan, would you like to go next?
I certainly would, Dennis. Like, again, kind of you're kind of on the same kind of wavelength I am, in the sense where, like, it's for a match that is like that's been hyped up for essentially a year. Like the match was announced the day after WrestleMania 27, and to go from that point on to now, like again, they were very clever in the sense they didn't bring it up every single week, or they didn't like beat you over the head with it. Like this is the main event, so they kind of took their time and reminded you of it, like the match of Survivor Series, and then the run into Mania where Rock was more prevalent on Raw, and they made the storyline quite well, where like it was a case that Cena was kind of like slagging him off about it, doing the bringing back thugonomics and all that. So this build up going towards it was great, and there wasn't, and again it felt like quite a very personal rivalry in a sense, because it is a case that both of them are trying to get the better of each other. And again, that comes through in the match where they're both stealing spots off each other. They're doing their own greatest hit, but then they're doing their other greatest hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're nicking moves off each other. And like I said, the crowd was hot. It was definitely a match that we wanted to see. They were waiting for, which is always a positive. Always helps. And I can't say like the match was lacking anything really. Like it didn't. Like again, it was a lot better than I remember, because I think in my head I was thinking of the sequel next year, which was such a formality. But no, this match was brilliant. And again, the best thing about it, I think, was the fact that The Rock won, because it was so obvious. Edge
is going to come through the fucking monitor. Are you in a second?
Well, again, I'll qualify that by saying, like, again, it's because it was so obvious even for me watching at the time. Oh, they're just doing Rock Hogan again, where like like Hogan will do the job and
pass the torch. Yeah,
exactly. So you're expecting the same thing to happen here, and Cena gets put over by The Rock. The Rock goes off and does Passenger 6 and all this beautiful stuff, but then he wins. And it's like, okay, what does that actually mean then? Like, how does that like shift everything around? And what it means is that Cena has to go through this year where he just keeps obsessing about losing to The Rock, and that's when he finally does get his heat back the year after. And in a way, like that was the first time they kind of did like arcs between manias as well, because Reigns had something similar with Lesnar. Later on, then, and that one didn't land as well, but this one certainly did, because in a way, like Cena has now motivation for the next WrestleMania, in a way. I don't see there's anything like overly negative with the match, so I'll give it a 9 as well. I think it's
that's high ratings for Cena Rock.
It's a solid WrestleMania main event. It's exactly what you want. It's what people were waiting for, and that's exactly what it is.
Foxy, you're up.
Yeah. No,
I didn't think there'd be that much love for it, to be honest. But then I knew the match was so good that when you watched it, there would be.
I'm not gonna lie. I purposely didn't watch it again until now, because I didn't want to be sullied. I knew I would look at it in a different way, and I wanted to watch it fresh. Because a lot has changed since I watched that, and I can just appreciate it a lot more now.
I think when you're not seeing the same Cena week in, week out, doing the same character, and that being so monotonous, when you see it out of context on like a one-off, you actually do appreciate what he does. And it'll probably be the same with Reigns. Like later.
Oh fuck! In WWE right now, I miss fucking John Cena.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Foxy. Can you go on with your score?
No, like it, like we're repeating ourselves basically, because like it's. Now, I haven't seen, this is the first time watching this since watching it live. So, like, that's a long time to, like, before watching it again. But like I said early on in the match, is like, I'm actually really appreciating what they're doing in it. And it's, like to add on to, like, what Jonathan said, it's, like, it's a story that's being told, and also it's going to extend on, like, for another year. It's very smartly done. Like what they did is it's basically exaggerating what they can do and just extend it out for a long period of time. I mean, the crowd are in the palm of their hand from the get-go. So it's like I really like this a lot better than I did the first time round. Don't get me wrong, I was happy Rock won, but at the same time I was like it didn't make sense at the time. But no, I really enjoyed it. It's an 8.5 for me.
Nice. So, Jonathan, what are our final scores then?
Our final scores, Mr. Dennis, is in last place myself at 23.5. Then after that is the WrestleMania 20 main event, 26 out of 30. Then it's LJ with Rock Cena, 26.5. But the winner is yourself.
Woo!
You've finally got
one.
Won the gauntlets.
Jesus Christ! But look, I gotta say, I don't think there was any real losers there because Jesus Christ, they were 4 great matches.
Yeah, they were good.
Really enjoyed it. And with that, our long show is over, and thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched it. If you liked what you saw, please do click like and subscribe down below. There's lots and lots of content on the Nerds R Us channel, from comic books to wrestling. You'll find something you like on there. I want to say thank you again to the one and only LJ Cleary for joining us and giving up his valuable time to us. And LJ, if the folks want to purchase some of your fine merchandise or go and find you on the Twitter box or anything like that, where might they go?
Just for social media, it's LJ_Cleary for Instagram, Twitter, and I just like merch stuff. Go support, go follow Fight Factory OTT on Twitter and Facebook. Go buy the OTT on demand, all that stuff. Support the promotions now and then, because we need them strong when we come back.
Absolutely. Support Irish wrestling so that it can come back stronger than ever. There you go. Thank you very much, LJ. Thank you guys and everybody for joining us again on another Watch Graps with me. We'll be back sometime soon with another guest. Make sure you tune in then, and we'll see you soon. Bye.